Hey guys, it's Shady like a tree here, and this is Doc's and I's discussion of the videos that we made that my video that wasn't well done, and his video about the speech he gave on Charles Darwin, and then parts 2 and 3 kind of divulge into evolution and creationism and kind of became a full-on religion discussion between two agnostics and kind of trying to make sense of the whole issue. But I didn't put this on my channel because I just uploaded the Painkiller Already talk, and I thought that this would be a lot of too much words, not enough gameplay for you guys today. So that's why it's here, and I also wanted to upload our full episodes of That Just Happened here. So enjoy, guys, and I hope we don't bore you to death.
Yeah, go ahead. Whatever you want to do.
All right, so let me get this straight. The way I see it, there are as I'm thinking about it, there are 4 kind of events to the whole series of things. There might be more as we discuss this, but let me see if they're straight. So there's the initial speech you gave, which was about Charles Darwin and who he liked to stick his winky in, who he didn't get to stick his winky in, who he wanted to stick his winky in, his mom, his dad, his life, where he was born, where he grew up, where he fucked, where he didn't fuck, where he swam, and all of that sort of shit. And evolution may have been a small part to no part of that at all. Am I correct in understanding that?
Oh, it was no part at all, but
Okay,
yeah.
so there was not any part. Okay, so totally agree with you, like your whole speech choice and whatnot. Um, and I can see where the audience would jump to conclusions with their whole evolution and all of that. Um, um, I don't know how to word it, but their kind of beliefs, I'm assuming the ones that gave you trouble you perceive to be hardcore Christian or at least somewhat Christian.
I assumed, yeah.
Okay, and I
I mean,
didn't now remind me, how did you handled the situation calmly, and you debated them, but they just weren't having any part of it.
oh no, I didn't debate
You
or
just
anything
you
like.
just answered their questions, and they basically ignored you and had no part of it, if I'm remembering right.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then that frustration led you to make the Call of Duty video about the whole situation. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. And then I posted my video response, which I have now taken down, which you kind of answered to, but then we decided to have this discussion, and it kind of irked some people and whatnot. Probably because it was probably the worst video I've ever made. Um, but there's that, and then there's kind of the response to that. So I guess there's 5 parts. So I guess in my video, I kind of talked about a lot actually. But my point with my video was, well, first off, I'd like to apologize for overstepping my bounds and giving you the unsolicited advice that I gave you on that, because that was kind of crossing a line.
Apology
Um,
accepted.
and I realized my mistake, because my dad does the same thing to me, and god damn it, I'm like him in so many ways. Um, but and then kind of what I have to say about the whole thing. Um, Basically, I only accept. Well, my kind of point of view on this is that while I can't for sure say that evolution is or isn't, because I talked about how I like to witness things in person, and how part of how my word for it is probably different than yours, because I'm not a slave to this language, is plays a big part in this whole thing, because while I'm considered kind of agnostic, and I kind of subscribe to the fact that sure, God could exist in so many different ways, but I'm not smart enough or care enough to know.
Okay.
Um,
I'll go off of that really quick.
okay,
I'd say basically the same thing. Certainly a God could exist
right.
because I have no way of knowing for sure. I don't deal in absolutes. It's impossible for me to know at this point, anyways. Actually, it's impossible for me to know, period, until I die. But um,
Or
I
after that,
disagree with
maybe.
you on the point that you say you're not smart enough uh, to make that decision because that's the whole one of the main points is you are smart enough, and if it doesn't seem likely, then it's probably not.
I
One
mean,
of the
there are points in. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
it's fine. I'm not sure where I'm going with that now.
Um, I mean, there are points in my life where there have been where I've witnessed things or I've experienced things. I don't know if I shared with my YouTubers my near death experience. Um, but I mean, without getting into too much detail for that, because if I haven't done that, I'll have to look. I'll make a video about that. But I mean, just the feelings I got with that lead me to believe that there is something otherworldly. Now, as to what that is, I don't know, and I can't fathom. It's even hard for me, someone who writes several thousand words a day, and who writes all the time and thinks all the time, to even begin to describe what I felt on that day. But I do know that something I'd never felt before. It was almost like an extreme embrace, when I had that experience. But so that's kind of why I say I don't know, because I just can't fathom what I experienced. And maybe one day I'll know. Maybe when I'm dead and gone and have either, reincarnated or moved on to the next plane of existence or whatever, or however, if you're Buddhist or Hinduist or Islamic or Christian or whatever, however, all the various religions, if once I reach whatever stage is correct, um,
There you
if
go.
there is a stage, I'll know. But as how I am right now, I am not of the ability to know. How's that
That's
for correct
that's
wording?
that's exactly how I put it. I mean,
Yeah. So basically, I feel the same way about evolution that I do about like God and the afterlife. In that I have there is evidence. I will agree with you that there is a lot of evidence that suggests that evolution does exist. But I don't think that there's like, until we have a time machine and we can go back in time to whenever it starts, because I'm not well versed, as I said in the other video, on evolution, to the point when it started, and then periodically check back in and see these creatures evolve. um then I don't think I can completely say without a doubt 100% absolutely holy mother of all that is righteous, evolution exists. And what I talked about with microevolution, and this is partially, I didn't word this correctly, because, well, I worded it how I what I called it, but I didn't. I called it a growth on my thumb, but what it really is it's kind of like a cyst. And it happened because literally every day from playing my trumpet, I would get a cut on my hand. And I consider this to be the most epically basic form of evolution, that my body was able to build up a tolerance to this and then have a defense against it,
oh,
which is what I would assume would be kind of a way of evolution, and kind of a super epically basic watered down version of this. And I'm not talking about micro in the sense of macro. I'm talking in the sense of like how over the last 6 generations our pinkies have gotten smaller in each of them, but now that we're in the technology age, people are predicting that they'll start to grow again because we're using them more. So I mean, that's just how I feel about it. But I mean, you're totally entitled to your right, and if you want, me to share with you why I think people reacted the way they did, I will. But again, that's totally up to you.
I'll respond to you, and then I have no problem with you saying whatever you want to say. Um, here's the problem with the callus thing. Okay, I think I play trumpet.
You
Uh,
did. Yes, I've seen your picture.
that's my major instrument. I've been playing it for 8 years now, something like that.
I've been playing since I was like 14.
And that does indeed it happens to everyone at some point, especially brass players
Yeah,
and clarinet players as well, especially on their left thumb. But that's not evolution. It like I know the path that you're thinking, and it kind of makes sense, but that's nothing but just your that's just rejuvenation of your skin cells. Um, and
but
you
it grew to more than where it was. I actually got a defense
yes,
to it.
that's your body's adaptation, so that doesn't happen again.
So adaptation can't be a part of evolution. So our
Well,
most
it
basic.
certainly is.
Right. Well, that's kind of my argument is that little adaptations over time make up evolution. Like if like say I don't know, say a huge 50 billion gallon 50 a number so big I can't even think of it right now. Piece of ice hits the earth very slowly and then melts. And so the whole world becomes flooded. So the best swimmers survive, right? And then they start to develop webbing in their hands. And then their kids have a little more webbing and a little more and a little more. And then we've got ducks or whatever, you know?
Well, I think you have a fundamentally wrong misconception of what evolution is because it doesn't happen over a period of time like that. Um, if that indeed happened and anyone survived, which if it's on the scale that you just said, no one would survive. But
Right.
that's beside the point.
Yeah. I'm
If
just
that
trying
did
to.
happen, yeah, it's just it's a hyperbole. That's fine. If that did happen, the people that did survive uh, they wouldn't be able to evolve that quickly because the basic process would start. It would happen over a period of thousands of years. Evolution doesn't take place in any sort of amount of time that's even thinkable for humans to imagine.
Why?
That's just not how evolution works. It takes places over thousands of years because that's how.
Uh,
Okay,
I'm just trying to understand why it can't be quick.
I can't tell you that.
Okay.
I don't think you could find anyone that can. Um,
It, which is kind of was my point is when you would when and this is comes back to me giving you the unsolicited advice. This is kind of the same thing with God, I feel like. Is that it's this I don't want to say closed-mindedness, but this kind of feeling that you know that it's just not right because it isn't. If that makes any sense. Not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that
well, I've never said it like that. I don't think.
well, no, you haven't, but that's just how I'm kind of matching them together is that this like the point like how the thing we just discussed about how evolution doesn't happen quickly and we don't know why. It's like, well,
Well, I
why
don't know why.
well
I'm not an evolutionary scientist. I can't tell you that.
I mean, maybe you misspoke when you said I don't think you can find anyone who can tell you that. But if it would be the same thing as like saying if Mountain Dew is bad for me as I'm sitting here holding a Mountain Dew, why doesn't God not make me drink it? I feel like that would be the same kind of deal. You know what I mean? You know what I'm
I'm
kind of
not.
getting at?
No, not at all. Uh,
Um, it's like kind of the unknown of it, and like the almost unwillingness to.
well, there's a lot we don't know, but
Right,
there's a
right,
lot
of
that we
course.
do know, and that's the point. Science. That's the point of science is to find out the things that we don't know.
Right, which I'm totally for, and I totally, excuse me, I totally will accept, with proper research and whatnot. But, and I'm not saying that evolution isn't properly researched because it most certainly is. But there's just it's this feeling that evolution in and of itself is almost a belief system, and that I'm not saying that you feel this way, but I know a lot of people about evolution are almost religious about it, and it's kind of